These are changes to the agenda. Accept the motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not call for question. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next we have the minutes of the December 9th regular call or regular meeting. Have a chance to review those. Chair would accept the motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Mr. Humphries, Superintendent Information.
All right, we have a student recognition tonight, and I'm going to turn the floor over to Ms. Shannon Danforth, and she's going to introduce or is it Odan Berry? She's going to introduce Josh Bryant, and we have something to present to him.
Okay.
Josh is one of our students that competed in the state EMC wiring competition. Before he got to state, he actually had to compete an area. And in this competition, it's very in-depth. Takes about 2 to 3 hours to do. He actually had to diagram a circuit and then wire the circuit. And along with that, he had to also come up with a bill of materials about what he needed for that circuit. So, and they actually dock points if they go over the bill of materials that they needed. Along with that, he also had to do a minute speech? 5-minute speech, excuse me, a 5-minute speech on a separate circuit and actually tell the judges how you should be able to wire that circuit, what you would need, and how it works. And he also had to complete a 30 question problem solving test. And he did all that area and won first place. And then he represented us this past weekend at state where he won 7th. So we're very proud of him. And any of you need your house wired, call Josh.
7 out of how many?
Sir?
7 out of
12.
12?
Yes, sir.
Good job.
And we'd also like to just thank the board on behalf of myself and being in our FFA chapter for y'all's complete support in our chapter. So we really like to give you thanks for that because we have great students and y'all's support of that is just phenomenal. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Picture of you handing over the thing.
Actually, you want one?
2 seconds of my time, of your time, please. I appreciate it.
We'll reach out that.
Okay.
Under other superintendent information is just a note that we'll be rotating the vice chairman. Will rotate from Mr. Sermons to Mr. Locklear. We included the tennis schedule, and just a reminder again to put on your calendars the whole board training in Linux on February 13th from 5 to 9. We'll have another board meeting before that, and we'll remind you again and kind of decide how we want to get together right over there. It's going to be a good session. The training's going to be about the differences between the IE² charter and status quo systems, a decision that as of now is supposed to be made by July 1st, 2015. That's all I have.
Okay. Under action items, we have an offer visit
For primary school.
for the primary school. Ms. Trumper, I think you said that y'all done some research and
Yes, Ms. Richardson has asked this. Ms. Regal asked for it initially and sent that information to us, and I feel like it would be something good for the kids to encourage them to write.
need a motion to approve or?
Is it just one presentation you'll do, or you do 2 or 3? I'm just curious.
He's just doing one at the primary school.
What time?
I'm sorry, what time of the day? It would be during their special cycle time, which is in the morning at 8 o'clock.
At 8?
8 and 10. Mm-hmm.
That's for everybody? I mean, everybody comes at 8?
We'll have probably 2 separate groups. We have first and second together and kindergarten together.
Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Approved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not will call for the question. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is a resolution for the Title 50 variance. Mr. Hunt, you,
This is a waiver we apply for almost every year. Georgia's the only state in the country that still has a rule such as this, and we've been trying for years to get them to drop it. There's absolutely no connection that's been found between the 65% rule and student learning. And yet it's still a law on the books, and so when we don't hit that, we have to ask for a waiver, and it's usually granted automatically, but we still have to ask and have a resolution and have it signed and sent in.
Chair would entertain a motion to approve resolution 50, Title 50 variance.
So moved.
Mr. Sermons, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Locklear, any further discussion? Call for the question. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? And we have field trip request. I think it's all around
It's
the,
all around the band, and this is something new. I really don't know what it is. Gene, Mr. Culpepper, you might explain what the drum line is.
Mr. Elder's wanting to improve his drum line and his flag corps. And these are activities he can do during this semester specific to each group, where they're just competing against other flag corps. I think it's called Winter Guard is the flag corps group. And then the other part is the indoor drum line. They would do marching routines just as a drum line and compete against other drum lines to hopefully help their performance in those areas.
I was asked this question, I didn't find out by a board member, are any of these overnight trips?
No, none of those are overnight trips to my knowledge. There are a couple of long trips, but I believe they're all on Saturday.
Yeah, it's only showing one day, but I just wanted to double
I'm
check.
pretty sure they're not overnight trips, because I think I asked the question to Mr. Elder when I was putting that together for him. So.
all right. Chair to entertain a motion to approve the field trips as requested.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, Mr. Chason, second, Mr. Strickland. Any further discussion? Not call for the question. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Under personnel and contracted services, which I believe is under tab 6. Anything we need to talk about there, Mr. Hunter?
No, one hire and one retiring. And this will be a substitute bus driver that, I think he's ready to go.
Yeah, he's passed his CDLs and everything.
So we'd like to use him as we can. He's also a detention officer here locally, but there are times when he's not working there that he would like to drive. And we can always use a substitute bus driver. And Ms. Cameron has already retired.
Both of them?
Yes, sir. That's.
Did we replace her?
Not yet, we have a substitute in there right now.
We'll take both of these together unless there's an objection. Have a motion to approve.
So that,
Have a motion, Mr. Sermons. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Locklear. Any further discussion? Having a motion and a second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Charlie, financials.
I was able to get these financials going today, and I don't know, I didn't realize that 50% of the year was already over. I'm always a month behind, it seems like, but everything is going well. At 50% of the year, our expenditures are still at 44.6%, and the cash position remains strong. Of course, as we approach the end of the year, one of the biggest things that's going to change that 44% is when our debt comes up and I transfer money over to the other funds and start, getting ready to start closing out the end of the year. We did receive this past month $445,000 in local tax revenue, and we're looking at that to probably come on in this month and next month, and everything seems to be going good. Last month, you had asked me about our improvement of instruction function had creeped up higher than the percentage of the year complete, and I looked at that in depth, and what I found is when I went through the budget, we have an assistant principal that also does CTAE and other things, and I had the money budgeted for him in the assistant principal function, which is school administration, but the expense was going to improvement of instruction. So I moved that expense to the correct function where we had the money budgeted, and that brought that in line. And we continue to analyze those every month, especially after the first of the year. We start going into the budget cycle coming up for the new budget, and we also be looking at the budget for this year to see if there's anything we need to fine tune. But that was pretty much it.
This resolution that we signed a while ago or voted on, we don't calculate it at monthly to see if we're in line with that 65%. That's only done annually. So
And there's,
just a complicated
it's just very,
formula.
it is, and the way they charge some things, and they will call it an expenditure for instruction, and it's really not. And other things that could be much larger that are not, that probably should be. That's why I said all the states that had it have gone away with that law, except for Georgia. And we keep asking them to, because every year, I don't know how many percentage of systems ask for waivers, but it's very hard to meet that threshold.
Last year, we approved a waiver request, and we submitted it, and it was actually, we met the rule. We have to submit the waiver, and then they will calculate whether we met the rule. We may not even need it. And we didn't last year because we had met it through some achievements that we had in our test scores and that sort of thing. So it's an odd thing, and it's a 65% rule, and then what they found out when they started reducing our money that we get through QBE, through austerity, you know, that's the money that you would be spending to meet this, you know. So that's why they pretty much, it's a rubber stamp on a waiver.
And that's the rationale in the letter.
Yeah.
As far as why we can't meet it. I mean, we'd love to be able to spend more money if they weren't taking so much back from us. And that's, you know, the only talk right now that we hear. You know, I think the governor's going to speak either tomorrow or Wednesday and kind of lay out his budget plan, and we'll hear, because education is supposedly going to get something out of this election year, either in the reduction of the austerity offsets or teacher pay raises to some extent. I'm sure it won't be large, but those things have been bandied about. We'll have to wait and see.
All right, any more questions? Thank you, Charlie. Did we have anyone sign up for public comment?
No.
No? Okay. All right, I think that takes care of our business. I think we do have some items to discuss in executive session, so I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.